Before we rest tonight, take a deep breath and let the noise of the day settle. The world has been loud, hasn't it? Deadlines, voices, worries, all pulling at your heart like tides. But now in this quiet moment, God invites you to slow down, to remember that peace doesn't come from perfection, but from surrender. Welcome, dear friends. If this is your first time here, I'm Aaron, and you've joined the Sacred Heart family, where we pray together and for one another. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and click the notification bell so you never miss a moment of prayer with us. And as you listen tonight, may you find your soul gently returning home. This evening, we draw from the words of the prophet Ezekiel, who spoke of a miraculous vision, a river flowing out from the temple, transforming everything it touched. Wherever the water went, life followed. Salt turned to sweetness, dryness turned to growth. Even what seemed dead came alive again. That river is a symbol of God's grace, pure, unstoppable, and renewing. It begins in His presence and flows outward into the corners of our hearts, refreshing what's tired, forgiving what's wounded, and healing what's broken. Sometimes our souls are like the Dead Sea in Ezekiel's vision, still, heavy, and lifeless. The burdens of the day, the regrets of the past, the pressures of tomorrow, they can fill us with salt until nothing seems to grow. But when we let God's grace flow in, the impossible happens. What was once bitter begins to heal. What was once dead begins to stir. The Holy Spirit moves quietly through the cracks of our exhaustion and softens even the hardest places within us. Tonight, as you settle into the calm of evening, imagine that river flowing toward you. Not rushing, but steady and sure. It touches every memory of this day, every worry that lingers, every mistake you wish you could undo. It does not judge, it restores. It turns salt into sweetness. The voice of God whispers, "Let go. My grace is enough." Perhaps you tried your best today but still feel you fell short. Perhaps you spoke harshly when you meant to be kind, or you carried an invisible weight that no one else noticed. You don't have to hide that from God. He already knows, and He's not angry. He's waiting at the edge of your heart's shore, ready to step in and heal what you cannot fix. The beauty of grace is that it doesn't demand we come perfect. It asks only that we come willing. Bishop Fulton Sheen once said, "Our enjoyment of life increases when we bring a bit of mortification and self-denial into our days." It's a paradox, isn't it? That freedom grows through discipline, that peace comes through restraint. But he was right. When we stop chasing comfort and begin seeking holiness, we make room for something greater than pleasure. We make room for joy. Every small act of self-control, every moment we choose prayer over complaint, kindness over irritation, silence over gossip, is a ripple that widens into peace. Discipline isn't punishment, it's preparation. It clears the debris in our souls so that the river of grace can flow freely. The world teaches us to indulge every desire, to satisfy every craving. But the Spirit teaches us something deeper, that denying ourselves in love does not diminish us, it expands us. When we say no to selfishness, we make space for compassion. When we resist anger, we make space for understanding. When we practice restraint, we create room for grace to move. Maybe tonight, God is inviting you to a gentle kind of discipline, not harsh or cold, but loving and freeing. Maybe He's asking you to release something you've been clinging to too tightly, a fear, a grudge, a habit, or even a dream. It's hard to let go, I know, but as long as we hold on to control, we block the river. When we surrender, we become part of its current, carried by mercy instead of effort. Think of how water wears down stone, not by force, but by persistence. Grace works the same way. Over time, it softens, reshapes, and renews. You may not see it immediately, but something within you changes each time you turn your heart toward God. Every small surrender is sacred. Every moment of trust widens the channel for grace to flow through. This is the quiet miracle that happens in every faithful soul. It doesn't make headlines. It isn't loud, but heaven notices. Every whispered prayer, every humble apology, every act of unseen forgiveness. They are the hidden streams that feed the river of life. So tonight, don't rush. Let stillness become your prayer. In the silence, imagine God kneeling beside you, not as a distant judge, but as a loving Father who's proud of you for simply coming back. His presence fills the room with warmth, and his voice is gentle. Be still, my child. I am here. Let his grace wash over your mind. Let it quiet your thoughts. Let it heal the fatigue behind your eyes. Whatever is broken, he can mend. Whatever is bitter, he can sweeten. And whatever is lost, he can find again. The same God who turned water into wine can turn this very moment into peace. The living water flows where hearts are open, so open yours tonight. Breathe deeply and let God's Spirit fill the spaces where worry once lived. Trust that he is working, even in your waiting. He is bringing life where there was dryness, peace where there was turmoil, and light where there was shadow. Tomorrow will bring its own challenges, but for now, rest in the truth that you are being renewed. Like the river in Ezekiel's vision, grace is already flowing, quietly, steadily, irresistibly through your soul. And as it flows, it carries away the remnants of the day, leaving behind something purer, calmer, and whole. Close your eyes and whisper, Lord, let your water flow in me. Cleanse what is bitter, heal what is weary, restore what is lost. Let my heart become a well of your peace. In that simple prayer lies the beginning of transformation, not through striving, but through surrender, not through strength, but through softness. And as you rest tonight, remember this: God is not asking you to be perfect, only to stay open. His mercy will do the rest. As night deepens and the air grows still, you begin to feel that quiet invitation once again, the one that calls you to let go of everything you're still holding inside. The day may have been long, full of moments that stretched your patience and tested your peace. Yet here in this silence, none of it feels as heavy as it did before. The presence of God softens the sharp edges of the day, and his grace begins its quiet work, flowing like that sacred river from Ezekiel's vision. When we think of God's river, we often imagine a force rushing in to erase pain in an instant. But his mercy works differently. It doesn't flood us. It fills us gradually, restoring what's been dry little by little. It seeps into the corners we forgot existed, the corners where resentment hides, where disappointment collects, where tired hopes rest like stones at the bottom of a riverbed. God's grace moves through all of it, patient and persistent, until even those hidden places begin to shine again. Each day of faith is like a small current feeding into that river. Every act of honesty, forgiveness, or patience, every prayer whispered in the middle of exhaustion, becomes another drop of grace. Over time, those small choices carve new paths in the soul, replacing anxiety with trust and bitterness with compassion. You may not see it happening, but transformation never announces itself loudly. It blooms quietly in the soil of surrender. Bishop Fulton Sheen's words echo softly in your heart. Our enjoyment of life increases when we bring mortification and self-denial into it. The world might laugh at such a thought, but he was right. The discipline he spoke of isn't harshness, it's clarity. It's learning to say no to what drains you and yes to what gives life. It's discovering that the deepest freedom isn't doing whatever we want. It's becoming who we were made to be. Think of your heart as a garden watered by God. Too much indulgence is like overwatering. It drowns the roots. Too much distraction is like weeds choking what's meant to grow. Discipline, in its truest sense, is tending the soil, pulling away what doesn't belong so that love can flourish. When you deny yourself for love of God, you aren't depriving your soul, you're pruning it, making room for something more beautiful to grow. The saints understood this truth deeply. They knew that small sacrifices, unseen by others, carry eternal weight. A quiet act of patience, a simple word of kindness, a hidden prayer for someone else, these are the streams that merge into God's great river of life. Even the smallest self-denial done in love ripples through eternity. You may never know the full impact of the grace that flows through your obedience, but heaven sees it all. Sometimes that discipline takes the form of silence, choosing not to defend yourself, not to complain, not to retaliate. Other times it's action, serving when you're tired, forgiving when you've been hurt, trusting when fear whispers otherwise. Each act is a letting go, a surrender that says, Lord, not my will, but yours. In that surrender, peace begins to grow. Not the fragile peace the world offers, but the deep peace of one who knows they are held by God. And when you stumble, and you will, Remember that falling is not failure. Even rivers meet obstacles along their path, but they do not stop flowing. They carve around stones, soften them, and continue their journey toward the sea. So too with grace. When you fall, don't stay there in shame. Let the current of mercy carry you back. God's love does not withdraw when you fail, it draws closer. As you rest in this truth, picture again that holy river from Ezekiel's vision. It began as a small trickle from the temple's threshold, then grew deeper and wider as it flowed outward. By the time it reached the barren lands, it had become a mighty river teeming with life. This is how grace works in your soul. It begins small, often unnoticed, but it grows as you keep walking in faith. Perhaps today's small obedience, holding your tongue, forgiving a wrong, resisting a temptation, felt insignificant. But to heaven, it was a step deeper into the current. Every time you choose grace over bitterness, the river widens. Every time you surrender what you cannot control, its waters grow stronger. Until one day, without realizing it, you'll find yourself standing in a flood of peace that once seemed impossible. There's something miraculous about that. God takes what little we offer, our effort, our prayers, our desire, and multiplies it beyond measure. What you think of as ordinary faithfulness, He sees as extraordinary love. You are not merely surviving the day, you are participating in a divine transformation, one that ripples far beyond what you can see. Maybe you've been praying for something that hasn't changed. Maybe you've waited so long that hope feels distant. But remember, even when the surface looks still, the river still moves beneath. God's grace never stops flowing. It might not change your circumstance immediately, but it will change you within the circumstance. It will turn anxiety into patience, fear into trust, confusion into quiet strength. When you close your eyes tonight, ask God to let His living water flow again. Say, Lord, reach the places in me that I cannot reach alone. Then rest in that prayer. You don't need to see the result right now. You just need to believe that the water is moving, bringing life where there was dryness. Peace is not the absence of struggle. It's the presence of grace. It's knowing that even if the world around you feels chaotic, the temple of your heart still holds living water. You can draw from it anytime, through prayer, through trust, through simply whispering the name of Jesus when words fail. As the night stretches on, let that thought bring comfort. God's grace never stops seeking you. No failure, no mistake, no wound is beyond its reach. Like Ezekiel's river, it transforms everything it touches. The salt of your exhaustion, your regrets, your disappointments, all of it can become fresh again in His mercy. Tonight, release the last remnants of worry. Let His river flow unhindered. Let it wash over your thoughts, your heart, your spirit. You are being renewed even now. As the night deepens further, the world grows quieter, and the sound of your own breath becomes a reminder that life itself is grace. The day behind you begins to fade into memory, yet certain thoughts remain. Unfinished tasks, words left unsaid, emotions you still carry. You wonder if you did enough, if you loved enough, if you trusted enough. But in the stillness, God whispers that peace does not come from performance. It comes from presence. His presence, steady and unchanging, flowing like that river in Ezekiel's vision, moving through every space that once felt desolate. The living water doesn't discriminate between beauty and brokenness. It flows to the dry lands, the wasted places, the forgotten corners. That's what makes it holy. And tonight it comes again for you, not because you've earned it, but because you are loved. You are the land He chooses to renew. You are the soul He delights to restore. The same Spirit that hovered over the waters at creation hovers now over your life, ready to bring forth light from darkness once more. In the silence of prayer, your heart begins to open. You realize how often the noise of life drowns out the quiet invitation of grace. You think of the moments when you chose distraction over reflection, control over surrender, self-reliance over faith. And yet, even in those moments, God's love never withdrew. It waited patiently, like a river waiting for a stone to move, ready to flow the moment you said yes again. The discipline of surrender is not easy. It takes courage to trust God with what we don't understand, to offer Him the burdens we've carried for years. But surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom. It's the recognition that our strength is not enough to heal what only divine mercy can touch. When you let go, you are not losing control. You are gaining peace. You are stepping into the current of grace that carries you where striving never could. Think back to the words of Bishop Fulton Sheen about self-denial. His wisdom wasn't about rejecting joy, it was about discovering true joy beyond comfort. The small sacrifices you make each day are not meaningless, they are openings through which grace flows. Every time you resist the urge to complain, to retaliate, to despair, you carve out another channel for God's river to move freely within you. And in those quiet victories, unseen by anyone else, heaven rejoices. Even now, as you listen and breathe, you are participating in that holy rhythm, the rhythm of receiving and releasing. You inhale the peace of God, you exhale the worries of the world. You breathe in His mercy, you breathe out your fear. This is prayer in its simplest, most sacred form, the soul aligning its rhythm with heaven's. There's a reason Scripture often describes grace as water. Water meets us at every level. It cleanses, refreshes, sustains, and gives life. But it also shapes. Over time, it smooths what is jagged, polishes what is rough, and finds a way through even the hardest rock. God's grace does the same. It's patient. It doesn't force, it transforms. And in the hands of the divine, your soul, no matter how worn or weary, becomes a riverbed of renewal. Sometimes we resist this process because it feels too slow. We want miracles that are instant, healing that's visible, peace that's permanent. But God's work is often silent and unseen. He is more interested in forming the soul than fixing the moment. The river of grace doesn't erase your past, it redeems it. Every sorrow becomes a source of compassion. Every failure becomes a lesson in humility. Every delay becomes a deepening of faith. Tonight, as you rest, let your thoughts drift to all that God has already carried you through. Remember the nights you thought you wouldn't make it, the prayers you whispered through tears, the moments when despair felt like your only companion. Yet here you are, still standing, still breathing, still held. That's not coincidence, that's grace. The river has never stopped flowing, even when you didn't see it. And so gratitude begins to rise. Gratitude not only for what went right today, but also for what went wrong, for the moments that stretched your patience, for the interruptions that reminded you of your limits, for the disappointments that made space for humility. Every hardship has been another chance to depend on God more deeply, to draw closer to the source rather than the surface. When you live this way, every moment becomes sacred. Washing dishes, driving home, speaking kindly, forgiving quietly, each can be an act of worship when offered to God. The river of grace flows through ordinary life, transforming the mundane into holy ground. And as it flows, it leaves traces of peace behind. Peace that lingers even when the world is restless. If tonight you feel a longing for something more, a deeper peace, a stronger faith, a clearer purpose, know that longing itself is already grace. It's the river calling you to step deeper, to trust the current, to release whatever still holds you back. You don't need to see the destination. You just need to keep walking with God one step at a time, one prayer at a time, one act of love at a time. The same water that turned the Dead Sea fresh can turn your weariness into strength. The same river that brought life to the barren land can breathe hope into the deserts of your heart. The same Spirit that flowed from the temple in Ezekiel's vision flows now from the pierced side of Christ, the true temple, pouring mercy upon the whole world. And tonight, that mercy is reaching you. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine that river again. Hear its soft sound, see its shimmering light. Feel it touch your heart as it washes away what no longer serves you. Fear, guilt, bitterness, shame. Let it cleanse the temple of your soul until only peace remains. This is not imagination, this is truth. The God who created that river has promised to make His home in you. You are His temple. You are the place where grace dwells. The living water flows not just around you, but through you, into every word you speak, every choice you make, every act of love you offer. And as it flows outward, it touches others, bringing healing to those who cross your path. That's the miracle of grace. It never stops with you. It begins within and moves beyond, turning hearts toward the source without a word spoken. You become the vessel through which God refreshes the world. As the night draws on, whisper one final prayer before the last part begins. Lord, let your river flow through me. Turn what is bitter into sweetness. Turn what is weary into worship. Let your peace fill every corner of my heart. The night is quiet now. The weight of the day has lifted, and what remains is a stillness that feels almost holy. You can sense that something within you has shifted. Not loudly, not dramatically, but gently, like the tide that rises unnoticed until the shore has completely changed. That's how God works most days, not through storms or fire, but through quiet faithfulness. His grace does not shout, it seeps into the smallest corners of the heart, bringing life to everything it touches. As you breathe in this peace, you realize that the river of God's mercy has been flowing all along, even through your ordinary moments. It was there in every struggle that tested your patience, every kindness you gave without reward, every time you forgave someone who never apologized. It was there in the tears that no one saw, in the laughter that felt like relief after a storm, in the silent strength that kept you moving forward when quitting seemed easier. Grace has been the current beneath it all, steady and faithful, carrying you towards something eternal. Ezekiel's vision reminds us that wherever the river flows, life follows. Trees bear fruit in every season, their leaves never wither, and the waters make even the salty seas fresh again. That is the picture of a soul united with God, one that stays alive and fruitful no matter the circumstance. It doesn't mean life becomes effortless. It means we are sustained by something deeper than circumstance. When the roots of your faith stretch into God's living water, drought cannot destroy you. Disappointment cannot define you. Fear cannot drown you. This is what it means to live in grace, not to avoid suffering, but to let it refine you. Each trial becomes an opportunity to trust more deeply, to release control, to allow God to turn what was once painful into something pure. You begin to see that even your hardest seasons were not wasted. They were rivers in disguise, cutting through the rocky landscape of your heart, preparing you to carry peace to others. You may not realize it, but your life touches more souls than you know. Every time you choose to act with patience, every time you show mercy instead of judgment, every time you forgive instead of holding bitterness, you become part of the flow of divine grace that renews the world. That's how God works through his children, quietly, persistently, like the water that turns deserts into gardens. The saints lived this truth with unshakable faith. They understood that holiness was not about grand gestures, but about daily surrender. They offered their smallest acts to God, trusting that even hidden sacrifices had eternal meaning. And you too are invited into that same sacred rhythm, to live every day as an offering, to let every word, every choice, every prayer be another drop in the river that flows from the heart of Christ. Perhaps tonight you can think of someone who needs that grace through you, a person who's hurting, distant, or lost. Maybe they don't need your advice or even your words. Maybe they just need your quiet presence, your patient love, your prayer whispered in faith. When you carry grace, you don't need to force change. You simply let God flow through you, and his Spirit does the rest. And when life feels heavy again, and it will, remember this river. Remember that peace isn't something you must chase. It's something already within you, waiting to be noticed. Every time you turn your attention toward God, the current strengthens. Every time you pause to breathe, to pray, to say thank you, you step back into the flow. The grace that once felt distant becomes familiar. It's in your voice when you speak kindly, in your patience when you wait, in your courage when you begin again. The water that once seemed far away now runs through your life like a song, sometimes soft, sometimes strong, but always leading you home. You begin to realize that faith in its truest form is not about striving to be perfect, but about trusting the one who is. It's about resting in the knowledge that God's love for you does not depend on how much you achieve or how flawlessly you pray. His love is constant. It flows even when you doubt, even when you fail, even when you feel unworthy. And so you rest, not in the absence of effort, but in the presence of grace. You no longer have to fight the current. You can let it carry you. The river that began as a trickle in Ezekiel's vision has become a flood in your heart, overflowing with peace, mercy, and renewal. In this still moment, you find yourself whispering gratitude, not just for the day, but for the unseen strength that carried you through it. Gratitude for the discipline that softened your heart, for the pain that taught you patience, for the love that never left. You realize that every step, every breath, every prayer was part of a story God has been writing since the beginning of time. A story of redemption, not perfection, of transformation, not control. As you prepare to close your eyes and rest, take one final breath and let your soul speak freely. Lord, thank you for being the river in my desert. Thank you for turning my weariness into worship, my struggles into surrender, my ordinary days into offerings of grace. Teach me to live from this place of peace, to let your love flow through me tomorrow and always. The night holds you gently now, like a promise. The same God who watched over you today will watch over you as you sleep. The same Spirit that moved in Ezekiel's vision moves quietly through your heart. And when the sun rises again, the river will still be flowing through your words, your choices, your kindness, your prayers. Remember this as you drift into rest. You are part of something holy, something living, something eternal. God's grace is not a moment, it is a movement, and you are within its flow. If tonight's reflection has brought peace to your spirit, share that peace with someone else. Like this video, share it with a friend who needs calm, and subscribe to Stay Close in Prayer with our Sacred Heart family. Your presence here makes this ministry alive, and together we spread the river of God's grace to hearts across the world. May you rest in His love tonight and wake renewed in His light tomorrow. Good night, and God bless.